Hello, 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 and welcome to the Drag Race recap here on RHAP. We Know Reality TV. We'll be discussing All Stars 10, episode 4 today, in the beginnings of a second bracket, the pink bracket. 6 all new queens to discuss, a pig first challenge where they had 8 items out of a magic 8 ball that they could use in order to make an outfit, and they had to use all 8 pieces. But a lot to discuss when it comes not just to the challenge, but to what happened in the workroom, in the confessional, and everything in between. So I have Aman Adwin, as per usual, with me to break it all down. Aman, how are you? And what did you think about bracket 2 so far?
I am here for it. I, like many other people, have been very excited to see the likes of Mistress back. And she did not disappoint with really just stirring the pot and just getting up all in the mess. It's been great to see Tina Burner. It's been great to see Nicole Paige Brooks, Georges. I feel like the only one that's kind of getting lost in the sauce, as it were, is really Carrie, unfortunately. But other than that, this was a pretty full steam ahead episode. And of course, seeing Lydia Butthole Collins back is also great as well. So.
And it's so funny too, because she would have just finished filming, coming back into this, and it's amazing because they don't ever really talk about the other queens being like, we haven't even seen your season. But then they also kind of made references to things in the season. So I wonder if they allowed them to see certain footage from season 17, because it seemed like they were kind of acquainted with her, which very well could be from like doing local gigs and everything. Like, I get that. But I just thought it was interesting. There wasn't like this whole, like, I thought there would be like a gag, like, and, people being like, wow, like, we really didn't even get to see what you're talking about. And really, they were just gagged that she made all of her runways for season 17. I was like,
yeah, I mean,
that's what you're gagged about? Like, what?
I think we did get some confirmation from one of the queens online at some point, and don't quote me, but I think someone did say something about they got the chance to get the download on Lydia before they entered the workroom, so they kind of understood. And at first I was like, I kind of wanted like the gag moment of them not knowing. But then I was also like, I guess it is a bit unfair for everyone else to sort of be able to size their competition up. And she's the only one that gets to have the leg up, whereas no one knows what to expect from her. So I kind of get it. But at the same time, like, she's still at a major disadvantage in having come back immediately after being on her first season, because it really wasn't a lot of time. I have to imagine, like, I mean, if she made everything for this package, I'm like, how? Like, did you just have everything in like frozen in carbonite somewhere? I don't understand how you just. It's crazy.
And I think she said that obviously Corey helped her, as well as I think Plain Jane helped her as well a little bit too. So like, if you're gonna have people help you, I mean, having Plain Jane and Corey on your side is good to have. But I imagine this was kind of a mad dash. And clearly she could put together an outfit quite quickly, because we see that in this episode. So maybe she's just that good, Aman. Maybe she can.
I mean, we can get to the actual look with it itself, but I think, I mean, clearly we are getting to see her in a different element, which is so strange considering she was just here, and I feel like we did get a chance to see quite a bit from her on her season, but to see her really come back with this automatic confidence of, oh, I know that the judges enjoy who I am, because they did not have to bring me back, and they just said, no, come right on back for this, for All Stars 10, the 10th season of All Stars. Like, I have to imagine that does wonders for one's confidence, and and it should change how you perform in the competition. So,
speaking of that, Aman, it seems quite obvious that everybody is just addressing the elephant in the room when it comes to Georges, and everyone's just like, well, RuPaul loves her regardless of whatever she does. And the fact that Georges is like, I can't help it, RuPaul loves me. It's like, there's a part of me that's like, Yes, of course. I'm happy that we're acknowledging that, but it also kind of like, in my opinion, takes away from George's achievements on the show to be like, and RuPaul just likes you, which, like, don't get me wrong. I've definitely thought that there are times where I've been like, okay, RuPaul's favoritism is showing because that was not what I would have put in the top or one or whatever. But that said, I felt like All Stars 9 last season showed George's was, she was stronger than she was in season 14, and it's good to see her come back in this season. But I'm also like, you're gonna have to really step it up, I think, and so that people don't think you're just on here because RuPaul likes you. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, this is such a weird conundrum with her, because I just feel like it's very invalidating to what she does bring. And then the times where she does incredibly well, I feel like it's gotten overshadowed by the fact that RuPaul's obsessed with her.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think it is important to remind ourselves just how much better she did perform for All Stars 9. And of course, yes, Ru is always going to have some favoritism going on. It's kind of just, it is what it is. Like, we're all infallible human beings, and Ru is going to have the people that he might have a little soft spot for. It doesn't necessarily always mean that they're going to win, that they're going to always get dragged along. Sometimes they go rather quickly, and Ru's pissed off about it. So it's like, it's, you kind of, it's kind of like if Ru, if you know that you're one of Ru's favorites, yes, it's nice to have a bit of a leg up, but the eyes are then on you. Everything is going to be very much scrutinized, if not by Ru, then by your sisters, and of course by the audience that can see it bright as day what's happening. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's nice to be back so quickly for her as well. But yeah, she has a lot to prove. She has a lot to, you really can't slip up. You have to do well, or what was the point? Because then everyone's gonna be like, why did you get brought back? I feel like your profile decreases if you get brought back so soon, and then you're just right out the door again.
Agreed. And I think what's so fascinating with this bracket is that we have such a, like, I feel like RuPaul really likes Mistress. I think RuPaul really likes Georges. I think everybody enjoys looking at Carrie. I think everybody in the workroom wants to work with Mistress, but they also don't trust her, which is amazing. And I love that in this first episode, we kind of get the judges panel and the room kind of like face cracked at Tina Burner, and like myself as well. Like, I was sitting here at home being like, I don't know what she's going to do. And I'll admit that I maybe wasn't as excited to see her back on Drag Race, whereas I felt like, she's really iconic and such a legend in New York, and like that is where she really thrives. I'm happy to see her come back and like pull a seat up to the table and play the Drag Race game.
Right.
And so that's been fun. I feel like Nicole Paige Brooks is the queen of the confessional, and that is really saying something when Mistress is in your bracket. The fact that she, for me, stole the show and as a confessional queen, and Untucked. It's like at first she started playing ball and was like the first person to make fun of herself. And then everybody started kind of dogpiling. And then she was, okay. Yeah. And I was like, oh, she's going to snap. It's going to be so good. So like I don't know. I'm just like so excited. In like the facial expressions she makes, the like side comments, she looks amazing. And it's so much fun. I don't know. I feel like this bracket has brought way more like old school Drag Race in terms of like the vibe of the cast than like the bracket one was really like new All Stars, where it's like kind of like a little, PC.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to hear you say that, because like obviously we all have our favorites. We all have the ones that we sort of gravitate towards. So I never really want to make a general sweeping generalization about how I think most fans feel about a lot of the queens, because I do feel like as far as the premier queens and the second bracket, it does feel a little more heavy-handed in terms of like I guess popularity, or just maybe profile for the queens that are in the second bracket. I kind of was just there for Aja in the first bracket, and that was kind of it. Not to say that people don't appreciate all the other queens in the bracket, I was excited to see Olivia. I was excited to see Deja. I was excited to get introduced, in a way, to Phoenix. I still haven't watch all of season 2 in its entirety. I know who she is. I just haven't watched it yet. Or season 3.
But when you watch also season 2, you'll see Nicole Paige Brooks, albeit very quickly.
But I'm glad to hear you say that, because I do feel like this particular bracket is very stacked. Like, I mean, Mistress, such a big name. Georges, such a big name. Lydia Collins, maybe not the biggest name as some of her sisters, but the
recency bias.
The recency bias, the most interesting story, having been back so soon. Carrie Colby, maybe a little bit on the lesser end, but still has the legacy of being Sasha Colby's daughter. Tina Burner, I don't want to say I was a fan of Tina Burner season 13, but I did always feel like I wanted to see more from her. I did always feel like, everyone was talking you up before you got here. You are this big legendary queen in New York. You are like the hostess with the mostest. And I feel like it's not translating. So I wonder, is it the game of Drag Race? Is it being surrounded by some of these queens that are a little younger, that are a little bit more attuned to maybe how the game is played, or just like just how new drag is?
Yeah.
And I could just tell that she was a little stunted. And so I'm glad to see her back with a little bit of confidence, a little bit more swag, a little bit more just like, bitch, like, here, I'm here. Maybe I messed up the first time, but I'm here. So this whole bracket is just very, I'm a lot more torn on who I want to see move forward now, because there's a lot going on for everybody.
I think honestly, everybody has something to prove in this bracket. And that's what I think is really interesting. You know, the first bracket's not that everybody had something to prove, but it was like not so much in the competition, if that makes sense. Like, you know, for the Ajas and Boscos, it was very much like, I have something to prove to myself that I can do drag and be a trans woman and separate my identity from my art, and also incorporate my identity in my art and that kind of thing, right? And that's something that's important. But in terms of like, you've got 6 queens that are coming back fighting hard for that crown. You know, you've got Carrie, who's like, I can't just be Sasha Colby's daughter. I've also got to be a crown winner myself. You got Lydia, who's like, I'm the only queen that's ever been asked to come back this quickly. Mistress, who's like, I should have beat Sasha Colby. Like, I should have gotten the crown. Nicole Paige Brooks, it's like, I still have a friggin' career that is outrageous, and I've traveled the world because of the couple of episodes from 16 years ago. Try to tell me that I don't have what these girls have. You've got Georges, who's like, I'm here to prove that, like, I'm going to just keep getting better and better and better, bitch. And like, you guys can still think of me as this like underdog that just RuPaul just happens to like, but I've got something to prove. Right. And Tina like is going to come back and say, hey, I rested on my laurels and I didn't really play the game. I just did Tina the way I would do it, rather than really pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to say that this first episode already pointed to exactly what I predicted last week, Aman, when I said, I think that this group of queens are going to be reading each other left, right, and center. They're not going to just let comments pass. And I feel like within the second commercial break, so to say, there was like already the Tina versus Mistress in the workroom moment. And it's so funny because like, even though we discussed the Bosco and Olivia, like, did Bosco know that that was a fight and not just like playful banter, and the way that like, you know, this felt like some real tension from Tina. And I couldn't tell if she was also like trying to appear like she's just like gonna take it off the chin, but I really think that she's like pissed about Mistress basically using her image for, you know, trolling likes and that kind of thing on Twitter. So I was like, oh, this is drama that I can appreciate.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, Mistress is such a fun character, and the way that she chooses to antagonize is very interesting, because I do think, and she self-admittedly, I think she's very much aware of the fact that she can sometimes take things a little too far. And I'm like, interesting. You know that about yourself, but you still choose to pick at certain people. And then you're just hoping, like, are you just hoping that that particular queen that you're picking at is going to be like fine with it and give you a little playful banter back? Or if they get pissed off, do you not know when to back off? It's like a very very thin line that she likes to to navigate, because we can see her back in her first season, the way that she was dragging Sugar and Spice, and then the commercial break happens, and then she's like, oh, you know what? I just love those two now. It's fine. But then, it's not the same thing for Maya. What was the girl's name? Maya Iman Page, Maya Page Iman, something like that.
Yes.
Y'all, the fans know. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
But it's just like she just likes to, and as Georgia said in the DR, like she likes to find a target and just poke, and sees what's gonna happen. And it appears as though Tina, like you said, is just kind of being like, I'm not giving you any of the energy. Like, I'll give you a little haha and kiki in the beginning, and then I'm gonna like go and mind my business. But it also does seem like Tina's also like a little pissed off about it.
I genuinely think that she's upset. And I think that I also think that she's like, good, I am going to genuinely bring some fire, to light under my ass for both in the workroom, in the confessionals, as well as to the competition. So I don't know if that's actually going to help Mistress or not. Like, these aren't like some of the queens that you can just get inside their head, like, I think that Tina's someone who's going to be like, good, I'm known in New York to be a roaster. She's literally brought out to do that kind of stuff for like years. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, given that she's a little older than most of the queens there, that she's got this history or whatever, she's not afraid of Mistress. And I believe. So when she's like, I'm not afraid, I will do that, I'm like, okay, good. This is what I want. Bring me drag queens that don't have to be nice to each other because they're drag queens. They're supposed to be bitches. Yeah. Let them be bitches, right? As a side note, not letting people be bitches. The whole Arietti versus Irene the alien thing this week. I don't know if you've heard or kept up with that, Aman.
I have heard about it, but I don't know the
long story short, Arietti had these tweets that she's since deleted and then came out with a public statement where she basically had accused Irene. She said that Irene was like hitting on prepubescent people, and she said that she was racist. And then in her statement, she was like,
wait. I mean, hitting on people that are underage is crazy enough to begin with, but prepubescent?
So she said that, and then she was like, well, I didn't mean that she was a predator and like all this, because she was just making it up and was coming up like, this is how she like quote unquote defend herself over those words. She's like, I'm immature, I'm in like anger management and getting mental health services and that kind of thing, but like after speaking with Irene, we felt it was necessary for me to make a public announcement. So like putting out there like, holy crap, girl, like get your shit together. Like, we know that you're young and everything, you got a lot to learn, but like it wasn't cute on Drag Race, and it got worse and worse with you off of it. And like, you have like a one-way ticket to just be completely blacklisted as a queen. Like, nobody's going to want to work with you, girl. Like, stop.
And she's not even that young, because I think now that a couple of my friends were talking about this earlier, and one of them made the point, like, yeah, she's one of the young queens. And then another one of my friends were butting, and they were like, I don't think she's that young. I think that she's like 28. And I'm like, I feel like you should know a lot more about how to conduct yourself at that big old age. You're pushing 30, and you don't know that you shouldn't make claims like that on the internet in today's day and age. So that's a little crazy. And you can have anger management, you can have all of those things that you talked about. That's fine, we get it. Like, everyone's on a journey, right? But like, that doesn't mean that absolves you of the consequences for stuff. Like, you're still going to get, people are still going to be like, you still defamed someone, you slandered someone. That's illegal.
and it's just like, what are we doing here? So there's that whole thing that's also been like hitting,
come on, Arietti. I was like rooting for her in the beginning too. Like, what's going on?
I loved how shady she was, and I mean, in terms of TV moments, I liked that she stole Jules's jokes, but not in theory. Like, I'm never going to be like, it seems like she's defending
mean.
But that's the thing, is like, okay, so you have the moment that you just like unnecessarily say really awful things about Anya in your like message. You stole jokes. You are unable to see how you have faults in situations that you go extra harsh on other people for. And then all of this is happening. So like, I don't know, girl, it sounds like you got to get your shit together. But all of that said, I wanted to just bring that up quickly because I knew that there would be people who would be like, like Irene's on the season and like this was like her former drag daughter and like blah blah blah. And it's like former being the operative word there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Aman, so I normally would have made a slideshow that had the entrance looks in addition to the looks for this challenge, but I got distracted and did not put together a slideshow. So instead, we're only going to be able to see the slideshow of the looks that they create. But as a recap, what they are told is that they will all be given an 8-ball, which I feel like production assigned them each an 8-ball and put things inside. They didn't really like make it random. So they were all assigned an 8-ball that had 8 different kinds of items. Some of them were like trim. Some of them were like different kinds of objects and like jewels and ornament kind of things.
Yeah.
Some, and then different kinds of fabric and so to say. So they had to point out, accoutrement. What a great word.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all had to put together an outfit that incorporated all 8 looks. And what I loved is that before they critiqued each outfit, they said, "Show us where the 8 things are on your outfit."
I know, and I hope that is a thing that continues. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, because it was 8, I was like, this is a lot of like time. But then again, it's like it was only 6 of them, so I got it. But I do hope that is something that they continue to do in challenges like that, because sometimes you just cannot tell what's going on with some of these looks and like what they actually and I think it's just a lot more transparency about like how you're allowed to actually use fabrics and like how much of it is actually adequate to be said that you used it, and then you don't run into situations like the seasons of yesteryear where Angela is calling out Raja for using Tool when she shouldn't have. Like, then it's just a lot more transparent.
1,000%, right? Or like, what was it, Hermona, Lisa, and then last season?
Mm-hmm. Stones. Mm-hmm.
The Stones. But that's the thing, like that kind of shade I think is like so much fun. It's like, oh, well, here comes the briefing issues.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go through each queen with their outfit and generally how we feel like they did in this first episode. And I apologize in advance. We are in the Drag Race Wiki, so shout out to the website and to those that maintain it. So the entrance looks, I don't have a login, and you have to like log in to see them, I guess. So I think that they will become public soon, but probably just not on Sunday after the episode. That said, we have George's look where she was like, I have to do something like really different from what I've done before. And I feel like this isn't very different than what she's put together. Like normally there is some kind of draped fabric and like a V or geometric kind of shapes of a bodysuit and such. That said, I thought that, the way that everything came together looks good. I love the like yellow fabric being kind of like the cape here. But what did you think about the outfit and how Georges did in this first episode?
It kind of really reminded me of the promo material for All Stars 9, because that was a superheroes one, or was that All Stars 8? That was 9. Yeah, 9. Superheroes, Drag Queen Save the World. Yeah.
Yep.
It kind of reminded me of those looks, and it's interesting because I do think that Georges did have something to prove here, because she was underestimated during the design challenge back in season 14. She ended up winning it, even though, some believe that looked to be a napkin. Some believe that looked to actually be a little high fashion. So, depending on how you felt about it, you're either looking for her to affirm the fact that you think that she can't design for shit, or that you think that she does have some talent. And I do think that this is a lot more elevated than what she did in her inaugural season. I do think that her sewing is improving. So in that respect, right on. As far as the actual like the memorability of this garment, it's not something that I'm going. I feel like her first design back in season 14 is still the one that sticks out to me. I don't know if it's because of the controversy, but this is simply fine. I think that the detailing on the corset is nice, but it's nothing that I think is really dazzling.
Right. And I have there's been some people who've been like, wow, I feel like you guys have been harsh like on like the makeover challenge last week. How could people not like like Olivia's group, and I'm like, because I didn't think it was All Stars worthy. We're talking about All Stars. If this was a regular season, I'd give the pass, but that's kind of how I feel here with Georges.
10.
All Stars decade. Okay. So I'm here. I don't care if we do an All Stars every single year and if the idea of it has been watered down. I still have those expectations. And given the money, the platform, all that kind of stuff that people bring, thought that was a really simple dress last week. And in this case, I think that this is just like something I would assume a safe person would create on a regular season. So I was a little disappointed with this. But that said, I agree with you that like the detail on the bodysuit in this kind of like, it looks really good. I think the cape is a good complementary color for it, and has that yellow in that other fabric that to kind of play off of. So it looks beautiful there. I mean, she looks beautiful. She's got like this like Fran Drescher, the nanny hair going on that I'm here for as well. So you're always going to get me with that.
Now I need to see Georges as Fran Drescher as the nanny now. I need to see that.
Because, you know, there was an episode of Broad City where I think she plays, is it Alana Glazer's characters or the other one? I can't remember, but Fran Drescher, there we go. She could just work through the Broad City cast for if there's any kind of snatch game.
I'm here for it.
Let's talk about Carrie Colby. So Carrie braided like 3 or 4 different fabrics to create kind of like this top, and then had some beading and such. And I gotta be honest, I did not like this, Aman.
She cheated. She cheated.
She cheated? Tell me.
Well, not officially. I just think that like taking those fabrics. I mean, I guess it is in a way that's unexpected. Like you took the fabrics and then you braided them, but it's like it's in a way that I feel like is, I don't know. Again, I'm like wrestling back and forth because I'm like, you know, they give you the fabric. It doesn't say how you are supposed to use it. Obviously, when you hear fabric, the next thing you probably think of is like sculpting something with it, sewing something with it, textiles, texturization. And then to just simply roll the fabric up into braids, I feel like is okay, fine. With that being said, though, one of my favorite looks of all of them. I really enjoyed this. I do think that she cheated, but I also think that she played to her strengths. I think that she, you know, she's not a seamstress. She knew that coming into it, and she said, "I'm gonna make this shit shine. I'm gonna do what I can, and I got the body tee." And I'm gonna just walk down this runway scantily clad in these braided bras, and it is what it is. And I think that she slayed it. I do.
I did not like how the bra itself looked because of the braiding. It made it seem very weirdly lumpy in areas, which is going to happen when you're braiding material. I get that. But all I could think of was if this were created like anybody else wearing something like this, they would get red for how it looks. But I just kind of generally felt like, yeah, it's more about her body than it is about the look itself, if that makes sense. So that's the reason why I didn't like it as much, because I really want Carrie to come out here and be more than just a body, and in the way that like both her and Sasha, you know, people were talking about that with Sasha. I remember Michelle Visage had a comment to Sasha, just like, I want you to remember that you're not just a body, and that you've got like a lot to offer. And I feel like Carrie needs that same kind of, you know, like encouragement here. But that said, I mean, she looks gorgeous. I just didn't think that this was like an all-stars worthy kind of outfit. And I feel like, you know, like you said, like she did what she needed to do in order to get through the challenge. She had something presentable on the runway. What she shared on social media is like a much better version of this, which you would imagine, because they would have, you know, she had more things to add to it and everything at that point. But yeah, I feel like Carrie's so far having a run that's really like, I'm back and I'm really gorgeous. And so I can't wait for her to show us some, which I know is hard in a design challenge maybe, but like, you know, when we start seeing them acting and doing different things, like I can't wait to see what other sides of her we get to see this season.
Yeah, it's, she's further along in her transformation, and she wants to show herself off, and I'm all for that.
That's fair.
Out loud and proud, and I'm here for it. But it is a competition, girl. It is a competition, so you got to come back and really show that you have learned how to be a better Drag Race contestant. You can be the prettiest little thing in the world, but that don't mean shit if you can't win no comps.
And you know what? She's probably been watching Big Brother, because she came right in and said, let's have all Texas girls. We're looking after each other. And then you've got Mistress, who's a part of that with Georges and her. And then Mistress and Nicole Paige Brooks are like, we're both Brooks, so we've got each other. And so everybody's trying to make an alliance with Mistress, except for Tina, for sure. But then you have even Lydia, who's our next queen, who like wants, to be in the house of, Mistress Brooks here. And on top of that, seems to be weirdly hitting it off in a way that I think that she knows Tina has like a crush on her or something. Like, can we admit, like, that is absolutely what's coming across, at least to me, is that Tina was like, oh, I really like this kid. But then I also kind of felt like Butthole wasn't saying anything about being in a couple, and I just was sitting back and I was like, this is awkward.
Maybe I could see that. I kind of felt like it was interesting watching Mistress and Tina kind of play like monkey in the middle with her, like no, come over here, no, come over here, no, come. I'm like, what is going on? Is this like capture the twink? Like, what is going on?
Absolutely.
But one thing that I do appreciate about Mistress, though, is that she, as shady as she is, she does love to be a mother. She loves to take somebody under her titty and just, give them the world, teach them all the ropes. There was this, I don't know if you've seen the video of the two of them performing Sweet Sensation at some gay. Yep. I'm sure if you search it on Twitter, I'm sure you'll find it in 2 seconds. I guess she has fully adopted Lydia as one of her own now. It's like a little mini me just following her around lip syncing. It's very pretty and very cute. I'm glad to see Lydia back again. Like this and this runway. While I'm still not the biggest fan of the way that Lydia proportions a lot of her looks, I still think that she hasn't quite mastered her body type yet when it comes to putting a garment together, because I see the vision. I just always feel like it just feels too lanky. I don't know. She's a lanky person, but there's a way for your clothes not to also be as lanky as you are, if that makes sense. Like
the way things are draped on her sometimes swallows her in a already long, lean body.
So I just I appreciate that she has a very specific point of view. I appreciate that she's very smart with the way that she curates her looks. She seems to be someone that does admire fashion and absorbs fashion and gets references to be as young as she is, and I think that's always great in a young queen. So I loved what she went for here. I love that it was ugly. I love that it was neon. I love that it was 80s themed, because I am a 80s whore. I love everything 80s. So I really appreciated this. I just wish that it was just a little bit more form-fitting.
I think that she is so interesting because I think that she takes a lot of inspiration from high fashion, but also has like a giant middle finger to like expectations. And so I think that she does the kind of shape on purpose to be like, this is not perfect because it's a commentary on it. Like, that's the kind of person I view her to be, like very anti-establishment in that way. I could definitely see why like Suzanne Bartsch and stuff like loved this outfit, in terms of like, this is something that you would expect somebody would be wearing, almost club kid, but almost just like queer party. Like, I don't know, it just like it gives that vibe for sure. And I think it's so cool when you see that coming from a young queen like herself, and especially someone who is still kind of a question mark to many of the girls in the competition. I thought it looked really good. I would probably not have put her in the top 2. Not that I think it's a poor look at all. I do think it's really well done. And just kind of knowing what we know about her. But I was one of the people that was shocked that Mistress was not in the top 2, but I understand why. So I'm not like upset about it or anything, but I was a little more like, oh, wow, they really like her a lot more than maybe some of the harder skilled things that Mistress had to do, for example.
Yeah.
Which, let's talk about Mistress, shall we? So I will say, I understand that from a look perspective, this is a silhouette and something that is predictable for Mistress. So I understand not putting her in the top for that, because this feels like something she would have done before. That said, I really think that this took way more. I think it was much more complicated to do what she put together with like this kind of corset like material with the breastplate, with the trim around it and the matching gloves that have nice hems and such, right? And then you have, this kind of trumpet mermaid skirt with the matching, straps up at the top and the bag. And it's just, I felt like this maybe I'm not a seamstress, so I could be completely wrong. There could be people at home being like, are you kidding me? What Lydia did took much more skill. And I will trust those people because I don't know what I'm talking about. But in terms of details, when I watched Untuck, I kind of agreed with Mistress, where I was like, I did kind of feel like there were some hems that were showing on Lydia's outfits and that were unfinished. And the way that when I looked at Mistress and Tina in particular, I felt like you could purchase these things right off the rack right immediately, or have it, perfectly already set it to go. So I think that that's why I thought that this was interesting. That said, I gotta be honest, this is one of my first times. I don't know if I've liked her paint as much.
I didn't like it either.
Aman, what's going on with the paint?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's blended well. It's such like the color scheme up against what she's got going on with the fabrics is just very odd. The hair I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm more accepting of the hair because it does feel like she's sort of going for this early woman, early man type couture, matted hair thing. So I get it. I still don't like it, but I get it. But yeah, it does feel like the face was just not there for me. I don't think that she painted well. It kind of like her face just feels like it's not elevated with the look. And I think that could have been a big reason as to why she did lose, because I do think that a lot of the stuff is very well done. And especially with having to use 8 things, like she blended everything very well to the point that you couldn't even tell that it's 8 things. I see just 2 things, maybe 3 if you count the beads and the little blue stuff in the purse. So yeah, just if I had to choose one thing, it definitely would be the makeup that sent me over the edge. And then of course, I do think that they did genuinely enjoy Lydia's a lot more. I also do think that there's just like some production shenanigans going on.
Of course,
Although
if you want production shenanigans, shouldn't it have been Mistress versus Tina in the top 2? After that workroom thing, you know what I mean? So I will say, I do think I agree with you. I think that it's just too white on where she has the highlight, which is, I know, a signature of hers and such, but given everything else is so warmer, nude kind of tones, like I get it here.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we have Nicole Paige Brooks from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, Nicole. I don't like that these new these older queens that come up to these refurbished seasons aren't doing well. It doesn't make me happy. It makes me sad because I want them to come back and be like, bitch, I'm here. And it's not to say that personality-wise she isn't like that. I very much enjoyed her throughout the entire episode, and I very much enjoyed her in Untucked. I think that she's old school and she don't give a damn. And I live for that. But the taste level as one Candy Muse would say, but the taste level is not there. If you don't have star quality, get the fuck out of here.
That was actually pretty good. I'm gonna give you props there. Yeah, I kind of felt like she had like a weird Monica from Friends shake and go wig on. Like the thing is and this is what I
double down on it in the untucked, saying like this is my wig, like I like my hair this way, like I don't really care if the judges don't like it. You should. You're in a competition, you should care what the judges think. And you're like, oh, this is also the smallest hair that I have. I'm like, well, then why would you go with that one off the rip? Like, I don't understand.
You got 3 episodes, girl. Come on. You can't waste your 3.
Right. And exactly. 3 episodes. And also I did a little research as you were looking, and it appears though, so they only had to, I don't know if we talked about this before. I think you may have mentioned this last time. They only had to prepare the first 3 looks for their package.
Yes. That makes much more sense. That also explains much more reason why Lydia could come back.
Right. Lydia said that she had 5 days exactly, but in the initial back-to-back part, she just had to take care of 3 outfits, and then that was it. And then she had like a month or 5 days, I guess, in her time to get stuff ready.
I feel like what I like about Nicole is that she doesn't give a fuck, but what I wish that she would change is giving a fuck a little bit more. Because like, here's the thing. Yeah, if your whole career and your drag aesthetic is to basically be like, I want to look like how a woman would put on makeup and I want to have whatever, like that's fine. But that's not what's going to fly on Drag Race itself. So if you know you're coming back for Drag Race and you have the ability, like I know that it's got to be a hard kind of dichotomy to go, do I give people what I am giving, that is like what I do, or do I change everything just to appease the judges for this? So like I know that that's got to be a hard thing to do, but that said, and I know it's a construction challenge and she's not somebody who knows how to construct, and I have to imagine that for years I don't know if she ever thought that she would come back. So I don't know, like I think it makes sense that like if she's gotten by without having to sew, like go for it, right? But this was such a major boot for me, and I just was so disappointed, unfortunately.
I wish that she had told us what she was inspired by, because when they put that side by side, I was like, bitch, this
I was like, you mean the Deja Sky entrance look that she had in the first bracket that was exactly like the Suzanne Barsh. And the fact that she had the nerve, this is why I love Nicole Paige Brooks. She's like, I was actually inspired by one of your looks. And Suzanne's like, I think I know what you're talking about. I was like, you're so nice, Suzanne, because there's no way. There's no way. Figure that out.
The disrespect. Oh my God.
I'm so happy to have her on her screen.
Bless her heart, though. I mean, this would have killed in season 2. Or, 2. So
Tyra wore something like this, so.
But you got to up your game, sis. You just have to. I'm sorry.
Well,
the price of entry is higher these days.
Exactly. Let's talk about upping the game, shall we? Because this is Tina Burner, who comes. So first of all, production gave them all their 8 balls, right? Do you like how production obviously doesn't want Tina to do the red gold stuff and then gives her this shit to work with? Like, I love that they were like, so you're not going to do like red, orange, yellow, like that kind of thing. And then come out with like all the shit that is like half those colors, which I thought was so funny and so shady of production. But this is incredible.
That's what I'm talking about, Tina. Yes. Tina. Yes. It looks like, bitch, it looks like it's giving expensive. It's giving rich white woman that is walking down the streets of New York City in like it's Christmas time. She is buying shit for all of her little snot-nosed grandchildren or nieces or nephews. Like it's giving I can't be bothered. It's giving get out of my face. It's giving I'm wasting time, and time is money. It's just, I love the top. I love the I don't even know what you call it, the darkened area around the breast.
The like corset. Yeah.
Yes. the high-waisted pant is like the pants are constructed to a T. Every hem is in place. The jacket, the jacket with the zipper, like, man.
And the lining.
It was so good.
And
so good.
The fur on the sleeves and around the collar, like good. To me, I was so impressed. Those pants, that material is so hard to make it look smooth if you have any sort of bumps. And we know that she's got that corset underneath and you can see that V, but it's not distracting. Even when she turns around and you see her booty, that booty is not distracting. It looks very, very good. This was perfection. This honestly, this doesn't just look like she bought it. Like this looks like it was tailored for her, that she didn't do it herself. Like that she had this tailored, or that like any woman in her position would not have bought this off the rack, that it was tailored for her. This was incredible.
And this is, you know, this, when she talks about that career, about that longevity, I'm like, this is what being in these streets and being in the game for this long can do for you. I just love that. And I'm like, maybe it all makes sense now. It all makes sense why Mistress chose Tina as the one to, you know, press that bear, because you knew Tina could sew. And you know you could sew too, Mistress, but you were like, oh shit, this other seamstress. I know she got something up her sleeve. You were trying to get in her head, and it didn't work. And I live for it.
And this is what I think is so funny, because obviously we do have some seamstresses in this particular bracket, but I did not coming into this that Tina was like had this level of skill. So already mission accomplished for Tina. Like Tina could literally crash and burn for the rest of the time, and I'd be like, this was an ultimate way to come back and be like, I will not be overshadowed like I was in season 13. I will not be pigeonholed into one box like I did to myself, as well as, you know, the other queens of production. This was incredible. I'm very, very pleased with that. So that concludes, I believe, right? Yes. Yes. So those are all of the looks for this week. The top two ended up being Lydia versus Tina. And I got to tell you, the lip sync, I knew that Lydia won from the moment, because they like barely showed Tina. And I kind of didn't care, because I just love the way that Lydia just gets like into the groove of things, and just like she just feels it, you know? I love it.
There's something, again, it shows she is very, she's an intelligent person, because all of the references that she's able to sort of pull in her fashion, and then in the way that she can just embody music that is clearly not of her time. Like, I just think that she is an anachronistic queen. I think she is an old soul. Like, she's been here before.
Yeah.
She has been here before.
You know what it is? She has every confidence of knowing who she is and what she wants. That is the clear difference. And there's a way to do that, even if people aren't necessarily like vibing with it, that you can still be like, that's okay, I'm confident with what I am. And I think of a lot of her runways from season 17, where we're like, we can see the vision, but I don't know if I like it for Drag Race, or I see the vision, but so-and-so's was better, or whatever. I love that she's fully like, well, whatever, this is what I wanted to show, and I did all this, so whatever. And there's a part of me that just like loves that about her, is that she is so fiercely confident with who she is, what she wants to say, and what she wants to do, and can back it up with intelligence, and can let other things just roll off, you know, be like water off a duck's back. And it's just like I think is just a fascinating person. Like, you can't have Corey King as a partner and not be able to take a read. You know what I mean? Like, so I just love that she can come into All Stars immediately and be like, I am a drag queen because I like being silly and stupid and having fun. And if I'm going to lip sync, you're going to see me boogie, oogie, oogie, baby. And you're going to see me really feel the music, even though she's not like a dance queen, so to say,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see, like, because you know it's probably going to happen. RuPaul's probably going to make her go against Georges at some point, and I can't wait to see what a lip sync like that is like.
Yeah, probably. That'll be the true test for Lydia. That'll be the true test. If you can beat my girl Georges, whew.
As one rises, the other must
the
fall.
New Supreme, bitch. The New Supreme. Just sucking your powers away. She gonna get your girl.
That's right.
Yeah, the lip sync was very fun. And if you haven't seen the video that I mentioned earlier, this is for Beth and for everybody. Go and find that video of her performing this song with Mistress. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, again, I just think I appreciate that Lydia is building the case for other queens that might not have had the best showing. You don't always need these long breaks before you see them again. Some of them you do. Do not hear what I am not saying. Okay?
Do not put words or queens into his mouth.
Get those words away from my mouth. Okay? Some of those queens need to be shipped all the way to the back of the oven and not come out for like a while. Okay? But there are some queens that, you know, they had a flub and you can bring them back immediately. And I think it builds the case for those queens, and also builds the case that sometimes, and I'm not saying this is like for Lydia's case, but I think that sometimes the judges, y'all get it wrong.
Oh yeah.
Some of these people needed to stay, okay? And bring their ass back now. Okay.
And there's also some people that stayed for far too long on their seasons.
Way too damn long.
I'm looking at you, Lana Jure, from this past season. I love you, but didn't love you that much as a contestant. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, so this is a very interesting bracket. How do you think the queens are going to give their stars next week?
So what because you asked this you asked me how I thought they were gonna do made predictions. And I said at the time I thought that Mistress was a lock. I thought that Georges was probably a lock. And then I was leaning towards Tina Burner because I could not decide between Tina and
Nicole, I think.
Yeah, Nicole. Now that we've seen how they've performed, definitely a lot more higher on Tina.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see Lydia coming out of the gate like that. I thought that she'd do well.
Yeah.
So now that they have these, oh God. It's because Lydia said that she thinks that all the 4 girls that are safe need to get a star. All 4 should get a star. And I'm like, is that smart though?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I wonder if, like,
they're not allowed to give them to themselves, are they?
No, they can't. But what they can say is, Aman, you give me yours, and I'll give you mine. You know, that kind of thing.
Because Paige was like, I'm giving mine to myself. I was like, she said it with such confidence and untucked. I was like, wait, are you allowed to do that? She's
like, yeah, no, she can't. Like, that's the best part, is like, you're not allowed to. But I think that they're going to try to do what bracket 1 did, but I don't know. I don't trust Mistress. I think that she's going to look at him and go
yeah, Mistress is, and she's the one that can get away with it too. Like,
oh yeah,
like, oh, I'm playing the game, girl. Like, you know what this was. And I know, like, Mistress is burning that she didn't win this challenge.
So you could tell she's pissed.
She is burning on the inside. So I know she is going to be itching to get as many stars as she can. So I would not be surprised if she tries to start something with the rest of the girls, tries to maybe get 2 stars out of the situation. I would not be surprised if she tries. But it is interesting because Tina is going to be clear opposition to Mistress.
Yep.
And so we'll see how that can go. Is Tina going to go as far as to try to get people to not give Mistress stars? But then where do they go if Mistress doesn't get the star?
So it's going to be interesting because 3 of the 4 are the Texas Alliance, and then it's Nicole Paige Brooks as the 4th, right? So I could see a world where Carrie gives to Georges, Georges gives to Mistress, Mistress gives to Carrie, or something like that. And then Nicole has to give to one of them and make her be the tiebreaker. Like, I think that would be very fascinating. The other way to go about this, Aman, is if you are not confident about somebody's ability to do well in this competition, why not give them your star if you don't think that they're going to win anything? So I don't know like how people would think about that, but I would think purely based off of this first challenge, I'd be like, well, I wonder if Nicole Paige Brooks is going to struggle. And if so, then maybe I give her my star. And you know, that's not why I say it. I would never say that to somebody. I would say it in the confessional. And so they can hear it well after the fact. But I think that it would be just stronger of an idea to be like, maybe I just load up somebody else because I don't think they're going to win. And I think I will. And if I give them my star, then maybe they'll give me theirs. I don't know. It's going to be wild.
No, because I was writing it down as you were saying it. That makes more sense. Georges to Carrie, Carrie to Mistress, Mistress to Georges.
Yeah. And then that makes Nicole choose which one of them gets 2 stars because she can't keep her star. And then they could be like, well, the 3 of us are in an alliance. And I hope that happens because, boy, I would love for Nicole Paige Brooks to be like going off on them.
Yes.
And you know that Tina would be like, come to me. We'll go against them. It'll be fine. And then Lydia's going to be like, oh, not against my mom. Not against
Tina. But she's going to be.
Then she's like in the top every week and it doesn't matter. Exactly. Like, I don't know.
I can't believe this happened. Oh, my God.
Oh, no. And like nobody will ever be mad at her. So I'm here for it. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be fascinating. I'm already like in the way that like I didn't really care about the stars in bracket 1 because I just felt like it was kind of like filler. I actually think just given the dynamics of this bracket, they could be some fascinating drama coming out of it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Aman, any other thoughts about our first week with bracket 2?
No, I'm very excited. This not that I was getting bored, but this really woke me back up. I'm like, oh, this is a real ass season of Drag Race. And so I just can't wait to see what happens next. Because now who have we yet to see now? Now we're waiting on Ginger,
Betty, Acid Betty, Cynthia Lee Fontaine, Alyssa Hunter, Ginger, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Denali.
Oh yeah. This is heating up. It's heating up.
I think we really. I'm just praying that the people who are really fun in the workroom and in the confessional rooms are the ones that go for it. Because I would love it if it was like Tina, Nicole, Mistress, and then with the 3 that you had from the first. So we already know it's Aja, Bosco, and Irene. Mm-hmm. And then for the last one, if it's like Acid Betty, Ginger, and Denali, like I just feel like though, like all of those queens will just say what they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is going to be messy.
It would be so good. It would bring us back to the golden days of like season 4, 5, 6, where they're just at each other's throats and like, or quite frankly, 1, 2, and 3 as well. Like 2 and 3 were like super. Like 3 was fully like one group of queens versus the other, like the entire season. You know, the Heathers versus the Boogers. So I don't know. I think it's just going to be really fascinating. So. Next week, I forgot what they're doing for a challenge already. I watched it a couple days ago and I forgot the premiere. It's an acting challenge?
All I can remember is Chaperone is going to be there.
Yes.
It's a diss track. Is it a diss track?
That's right. It's the rapping diss track. That's what it is. Yep. It's a rapping roast. That's what it is. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm excited because I feel like, you know, the only time they really did rap was in season 6 and that was fun. But I love the idea of turning it into a roast, especially since Lydia roasted and won that challenge with Mistress Isabelle Brooks. We know that Mistress can roast. We know that Tina can roast. We know that we assume Nicole can roast. So I'm really fascinated. And I could see Carrie having like a really good flow. And I could see Georges just making RuPaul laugh. And it, like we could all be like, oh, okay, that's cute. Oh, nope, RuPaul's just loving it. Okay, great. So I have no idea what to expect for next week.
Oh my God, the amount of possibilities with this bracket alone. Oh,
it's wild. I cannot wait. Aman, where can people find you, and anything that you'd like to shout out at this time?
You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin. Going to be here all summer long with Beth talking about All Stars 10. Big Brother, I'm sure, is very much on the horizon, so you can check me out over there whenever that starts. And then you can also check me out with Matt Lagore on the Diary Room podcast, where we are trying to determine the best Big Brother player of all time, whatever that ends up meaning. Bracket style, 6 players in, 3 out. Yeah.
Perfect. And you can catch me on Instagram at AugustaWind11 or in Blue Sky at Beth-Dixon. I will probably be podcasting a little bit with my weekly meltdown, especially as all these like casting rumors of Survivor 50 come to light. And then we'll have Big Brother. And so you can catch me over on my weekly meltdown this summer. And like Aman said, we're just going to be chilling on the drag race train for the next, I don't know, month and a half or so.
Yep.
So I'm excited to break it all down every week. Thank you to the RHAP team behind the scenes, getting this into your ears and in front of your eyes. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.